Have you ever wondered why some people seem to radiate joy and peace, even during difficult times? Why do certain individuals appear to have an unshakable foundation beneath their feet, no matter what storms rage around them? The secret often lies not in their circumstances, but in their daily habits and their relationship with God. Happiness with God isn't a destination you arrive at once and stay forever. It's more like a garden that needs daily tending, watering, and care. The good news is that cultivating this deep, lasting joy doesn't require complicated rituals or years of theological study. Instead, it begins with 3 simple habits that anyone can start today. These aren't just religious activities to check off a list. They're transformative practices that have the power to completely reshape how you experience life, how you handle challenges, and how you connect with the divine presence that surrounds you every day. Habit 1. Start each day with gratitude and prayer. The power of morning moments. First few minutes after you wake up set the tone for your entire day. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone or jumping into your to-do list, what if you began each morning by connecting with God? This simple shift can transform not just your mornings, but your entire relationship with the divine. Morning prayer and gratitude isn't about lengthy formal conversations. It's about creating a sacred space in the quiet moments before the world demands your attention. Picture this. You wake up, take a deep breath, and before your feet hit the floor, you spend just 5 minutes acknowledging God's presence and expressing thankfulness for the gift of a new day. Why gratitude changes. Everything gratitude is like a key that unlocks joy. When we focus on what we're thankful for, something remarkable happens in our hearts and minds. Instead of dwelling on what's missing or wrong, we train ourselves to see God's goodness all around us. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist or forcing fake positivity. It's about recognizing that even in difficult seasons, there are always reasons to be grateful. Start small. Thank God for your breath, for the roof over your head, for the people you love. Notice how this simple practice begins to shift your perspective. When you consistently begin your day by acknowledging God's blessings, you develop spiritual eyes that can spot His goodness throughout the day. Making prayer personal and real. Prayer doesn't have to sound fancy or use special religious language. God wants to hear from you just as you are, in your own voice, with your real thoughts and feelings. Think of it as talking with your closest friend who loves you unconditionally and genuinely wants to know what's on your heart. Share your hopes for the day ahead. Tell God about your worries, your excitement, your plans. Ask for wisdom to make good decisions, strength to face challenges, and eyes to see opportunities to love others well. This isn't about presenting a perfect version of yourself to God. He already knows everything about you and loves you completely. Creating your morning rhythm here. How to make this habit stick. Choose a consistent time and place for your morning connection with God. Maybe it's sitting on the edge of your bed before you get dressed, or standing by your kitchen window with your first cup of coffee. The location doesn't matter as much as the consistency. Keep a small notebook by your bedside or use your phone to jot down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. Watch how this simple practice begins to train your mind to look for God's goodness instead of dwelling on problems. Over time, you'll find that gratitude becomes less of an effort and more of a natural response to life. Habit 2. Practice present moment. Awareness of God living in the here and now. One of the greatest thieves of joy is living everywhere except the present moment. We spend so much mental energy worrying about tomorrow or replaying yesterday that we miss the sacred opportunities God places right in front of us today. Developing present moment. Awareness isn't about emptying your mind, it's about filling it with recognition of God's presence in ordinary moments. Think about how often you go through daily activities on autopilot. You brush your teeth, drive to work, eat meals, and interact with people without really being fully present. What if these routine moments became opportunities to connect with God? What if washing dishes became a time to praise Him for provision? What if commuting became a mobile prayer closet? Finding God in ordinary moments. God doesn't just show up during church services or dramatic life events. He's present in the mundane, the ordinary, the seemingly insignificant moments that make up most of our days. The key is developing eyes to see Him there. When you're walking outside, notice the intricate details of creation around you. The way sunlight filters through leaves, the complexity of a flower's petals, the engineering marvel of a bird's flight. These aren't accidents. They're love letters from your Creator. Reminders of His artistry and care. During conversations with family members, co-workers, or strangers, practice seeing them through God's eyes. Remember that each person you encounter is someone He loves deeply, someone He died for, someone with eternal value. This perspective shift transforms how you interact with others and fills ordinary conversations with sacred significance. The practice of breath prayers. Powerful way to maintain awareness of God throughout your day is through breath prayers. Short, simple phrases that you can pray silently while breathing. These ancient practices help you stay connected to God no matter what you're doing. As you inhale, you might pray, Jesus, I need you. As you exhale, help me love well. Or perhaps, Lord, I trust you on the inhale. and give me peace on the exhale. These prayers can be repeated during meetings, while stuck in traffic, during stressful moments, or simply as a way to remember God's presence. The beauty of breath prayers is that they require no special posture, location, or time commitment. They can be prayed while working, walking, waiting, or worrying. They become like a continuous conversation with God woven throughout your day. Practicing sacred pauses throughout your day. Practice taking sacred pauses, brief moments where you stop and deliberately acknowledge God's presence. This might be a 30-second pause before entering a meeting to ask for wisdom, a moment of thankfulness before eating a meal, or a quick prayer for peace when you feel stress rising. These pauses don't require stopping your activities entirely. You can practice present moment awareness while continuing to work, parent, study, or serve others. It's about developing a dual consciousness, being fully engaged in your tasks while simultaneously aware of God's presence with you. Set gentle reminders on your phone or place sticky notes in strategic locations as cues to pause and remember God. Over time, these intentional pauses will become more natural, and you'll find yourself spontaneously turning to God throughout your day. Habit 3. Serve others with God's love. The joy of giving yourself away. Here's a paradox that might surprise you. The path to greater happiness with God often leads through serving others. When we focus solely on our own needs, desires, and problems, we can become trapped in a cycle of self-centeredness that ultimately leads to emptiness. But when we look outward and ask God to use us as instruments of His love, something beautiful happens. We discover joy we never expected. This doesn't mean ignoring your own needs or becoming a doormat. Healthy service flows from a heart that's been filled by God's love, not from a desperate attempt to earn approval or fill an emotional void. When you serve others because you're grateful for how God has loved you, the act of giving becomes a source of deep fulfillment rather than exhausting obligation. Starting where you don't need to quit your job and become a missionary to serve God through loving others. Some of the most powerful acts of service happen in the ordinary spaces where you already spend your time. The question isn't whether you have opportunities to serve, it's whether you're recognizing and acting on them. Look around your daily environment. Is there a coworker who seems stressed and could use an encouraging word? A neighbor who might appreciate help with yard work? A family member who needs someone to listen without judgment? A cashier who could use a genuine smile and kind interaction? These might seem like small gestures, but in God's economy, there are no insignificant acts of love. Every word of encouragement, every helping hand, every moment of patience with someone who's difficult. These are all ways of partnering with God to spread His love in the world. The ripple effect of kindness. When you serve others with God's love, you set in motion ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. The person you encourage might go home and treat their family with greater kindness. The practical help you offer might free someone to serve another person in need. The patience you show to a difficult individual might be the first glimpse they've had of unconditional love. You may never know the full impact of your service, but God sees every act of love and uses it in ways that exceed your imagination. This isn't about serving others to get something in return. It's about recognizing that you're part of God's plan to heal and restore the world, one relationship at a time. Making service a natural response as you practice serving others, you'll begin to notice that acts of kindness become less calculated and more spontaneous. Instead of having to remind yourself to look for opportunities to serve, you'll find yourself naturally responding to needs around you with God's love. This transformation happens gradually as your heart becomes more aligned with God's heart. You start to see people the way He sees them, not as interruptions to your plans, but as precious individuals deserving of love and respect. Your default response shifts from "what's in it for me" to "how can I help?" Keep a simple record of the ways you serve others each week, not to boast or keep score, but to remain aware of how God is using you. You might be surprised by how many opportunities for service exist in your regular routine once you start looking for them. The transformation that follows a different kind of happiness as you consistently practice these 3 habits: morning, gratitude and prayer, present moment awareness of God, and serving others with love. You'll begin to experience a different quality of happiness. This isn't the temporary high that comes from getting what you want or the fleeting pleasure of entertainment and distraction. This is a deep, steady joy that persists even when circumstances are difficult. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't mean you'll never face challenges or feel sad again. What changes is your foundation. Instead of depending on external circumstances for your happiness, you develop an internal source of joy that comes from knowing you're loved by God, walking in His presence, and participating in His work in the world. Weathering life's storms when difficult times come, and they will. These habits become anchors that keep you stable. Your morning time with God provides strength for the day ahead. Your awareness of His presence reminds you that you're not facing challenges alone. Your practice of serving others connects you to purposes larger than your immediate problems. People around you will begin to notice something different about how you handle stress, disappointment, and conflict. They might not be able to put their finger on exactly what's changed, but they'll sense a peace and stability that's attractive and mysterious. This becomes a natural opportunity to share about the source of your hope. Growing in spiritual maturity, these habits work together to create a cycle of spiritual growth. As you spend time with God in prayer, you become more aware of His presence throughout your day. As you practice present moment awareness, you become more sensitive to opportunities to serve others. As you serve others, your heart grows in gratitude, which enhances your prayer life. This isn't about perfection or trying to earn God's love through good behavior. It's about positioning yourself to receive and respond to the love He's already offering. These habits create space in your life for God to work, room for His love to fill you and flow through you to others, making it practical, your next step starting tomorrow. You don't have to wait until Monday or the beginning of a new month to start these habits. You can begin tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier than usual. When you wake up, before checking your phone or getting out of bed, spend those 5 minutes thanking God for 3 specific things and asking Him to guide your day. Throughout tomorrow, practice taking 3 sacred pauses, moments where you stop and acknowledge God's presence. Maybe once in the morning, once at lunch, and once in the evening. Use these moments to breathe a simple prayer or express gratitude for something you've noticed. Before you go to bed tomorrow night, think of one way you served someone during the day, even if it was something small. If you can't think of anything, make a mental note to look for an opportunity the next day. Building momentum. Consistency matters more than intensity when developing these habits. It's better to spend 5 minutes in morning prayer every day than to have 1 hour-long prayer session once a week. It's more valuable to offer small acts of service regularly than to wait for opportunities to do something dramatic. Track your progress in whatever way works best for you, a simple notebook, a phone app, or just mental notes. The goal isn't to create another source of guilt or pressure, but to remain aware of how these practices are shaping your relationship with God and your experience of joy. Be patient with yourself as these habits develop. Some days will be easier than others. Some mornings you'll forget to pray. Some days you'll be too distracted to notice God's presence, and some opportunities to serve will pass you by. This is normal and expected. What matters is returning to these practices, not punishing yourself for imperfection. The long view. Remember that cultivating happiness with God is a lifelong journey, not a quick fix. These habits are investments in your spiritual health that will pay dividends for years to come. The person you become through consistent practice of gratitude, present moment awareness, and service will be someone who naturally experiences and spreads God's joy. As these habits become more established in your life, you can expand and deepen them. Your 5-minute morning prayer might grow into 10 or 15 minutes. Your simple acts of service might lead to more significant ways of helping others. Your moments of present moment awareness might develop into longer periods of contemplative prayer. But for now, start simple, start small, start tomorrow. Your happiness with God is waiting to be discovered through these ancient, powerful practices that have transformed countless lives throughout history. The same transformation that's available to every person who chooses to walk closely with God is available to you. Beginning with your very next breath, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your journey toward explosive happiness with God begins with tomorrow morning's prayer.